right, hi guys, welcome. Today we're going to be testing out the last couple Luminus products, and really there are two. There is Aurora, which is an active foam, and there is N Prewash, which is a pH neutral foam. I'm also going to be using Mint in this video as well. Mint is their, we'll say, bucket wash. I used it in the last video also inside my bucket when I was cleaning that Subaru. I put that in a foamer to see if we can get it to foam. I have it in here at 1 to 200 is going to be the PIR. So about 1/2 of 1%. These are both going to be targeting a 1% PIR. The pink is Aurora, the blue is N Prewash. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to foam half the car with one, I'm going to foam half the car with the other. We're just going to hang out here for a bit and see how it does, and then we're going to foam it with Mint and bucket wash. We'll rinse and then, foam again, right? So like I said, this is Aurora, and Aurora is an active foam, which means it's going to be alkaline. Oh, that really covered everything with foam. That's fun. It's a windy day. I should probably be a little bit further away from my garage door. So that's Aurora. Same head, same dilution. This one's N Prewash. Okay, that is now sufficiently empty. So, first thing we're seeing is that we definitely get thicker foam with Aurora than we do with N Prewash at the same dilutions. And I think that's just something to note, but honestly, this is pretty good for either one. We've got a little bit of runniness, a little bit of wet, but not overly runny, not overly wet. It's still clinging there very well. With pre-washes, I like to look at the foam, look for colors. I've got some good colors here. This is the active. This bottom portion of the bumper here where there's a lot of dirt, it's sitting down there. Same thing here. I've got a bunch where the rocker panel and the inner fender well end. Lots of colors, lots of brown, lots of dirt falling off the car. Look for some bugs here. I do have some bugs on the front of the car. They're not quite melting yet, but we'll give it a chance. And basically we just want to not let this dry, so we'll let it sit for a minute and then we'll rinse it off and we'll see how we did. I'm gonna rinse the wheel quick because I gotta say that Diamond ProTech wheel coating is really, really good. I think I might switch to it moving forward. I used Armor for a long time, but I've been really happy with the hydrophobics on this. I'm just trying to protect the black from the sun. I'm going to get the other two wheels and we'll come back and rinse the car. All right, well, we're starting to see a little bit of drying on the black and stuff, so let's rinse the car and we'll see how it did. Let me foam this with mint. I don't even know that mint foams. It might not, we'll see. Like I mentioned, 1 to 200 in here. So that's actually interesting. That little cannon, it only holds 40 milliliters of liquid, and it mixes at about 100 to 1. So I filled it 50-50 with mint, which gets me my 200 to 1 actually hitting the panel. So that's 20 milliliters of soap. That's less than an ounce. An ounce is right around 30, so it's 2/3 of an ounce. And I did a whole car with it. So that's pretty impressive. Great scent, just like before. We'll see how the slickness is with just mint by itself. The last time I used mint, I had it on top of their acid wash. Yeah, I actually like this quite a bit. The mitt has the right amount of like slick and float, if that makes sense. The right amount of, I don't know, gap between it and your paint. Smells great. That's my favorite part, honestly, is one of the downsides about lifting this 2 inches is I have to jump up on the tire to wash it now because I can't reach the roof anymore. Oh well. I still think it looks great. I am picking up dirt here, as you can see. Give it a little dunk, comes right off. So overall, honestly, really happy with mint. Now, I will say one of the things that confused me about the line in general is the existence of Aurora Pro. So I understand the others. S Prewash is acidic, N Prewash is neutral, L Prewash is alkaline. I understand why the letters are S and L. I'm guessing that they have something to do with acid and alkaline or something along those lines in Korean. But if Aurora is an active foam and is alkaline, why have it in the line? Why not just do L? Because L is supposedly a stronger pre-wash, and honestly from this test I'm seeing that it is. Why not just let people buy L and dilute it differently? It doesn't make sense to me. They all give you a target range of dilutions, right? They say, you know, whatever, 1 to 20 through 1 to 100. And all of these I've done at 1 to 100. But what I'm seeing is, I think Aurora is kind of unnecessary in the line, honestly, if you have L. And mint is great. So we'll see how it rinses off. Like I said last time, I had it with some other soaps. So let's rinse. All right, I'm just gonna wrap the line with this video since we're only 17 minutes in. Let's start off talking about the pre-washes first. So we've got 3 pre-washes, L, S, and N, right? So L is our alkaline, S is our acid, N is our neutral. I found that L and S worked really well. That Subaru, it did a great job removing a lot of the dirt. I'll link to that video here. If you happen to miss that, it'll be down below. L took off a ton of dirt and really left the panels in a way that some of the dirt was still there like a film, but you just touch it with your finger and it wiped right off. Like it was very clearly just needed a little bit of agitation to be pulled off of the panel. S did a fantastic job as well. That car didn't have a coating on it, so there wasn't a whole lot of mineralization to remove, but you know, those 2 were really excellent products. Now, Aurora, which we use today, is also a snow foam, and it is really a version of L, or very similar to L. And I don't see the reason for it to exist in the line. I've said this now 4 times. Like, if L works so well, Aurora works well also. It doesn't work as well as L though. I'll just be honest about that. There ended up being more dirt on the rocker panels and stuff that was left on this than there was on the Subaru that was left behind, more heavy dirt. So I just think like L works better than Aurora, so why buy Aurora? So I would recommend L and S would be good ones for somebody to pick up if they're interested in the line to check out. Mint is amazing. It's got an excellent smell. Now that being said, not everybody loves every smell. And there are 2 or 3 people that I've heard that have used mint that say they didn't like the smell. I like the smell. It smells like Wrigley's Doublemint gum, the green pack of bubble gum that we all had when we were kids, right? It smells like Doublemint gum. If you like that scent, this is probably for you. As you saw today, I put 20 mLs into my Canon and I was able to do an entire car. So that's pretty awesome. And this isn't a huge car, but it's a mid-size SUV, seats 5. It's a reasonable size SUV. It's not huge, it's not small. So it's not like I'm sitting here trying to wash my Mini Cooper. So mint I like a lot. I think it's really an excellent choice. So those are all of this. Oh, and then N Prewash. This is a pH neutral pre-wash. I found that it did a good job on dirt, but it didn't really attack any of the bugs. And I didn't have that problem with bug attacks when I did the pre-washes on the Subaru. So I think, you know, N Prewash might have a place if you're looking for a neutral pre-wash. But I think that I would rather just do L pre-wash at a lower dilution, you know, 1 to 100, 1 to 200, something along those lines, than do the N pre-wash. Although this did work well at removing the dirt and breaking down the dirt on the car. So again, not necessarily my favorite, but you know, it did its job. A neutral pre-wash isn't something that every line has, so it's nice that they do have one. Next. Luminus Aqua Direct, I was really impressed with. On the Subaru, I sprayed the door, I rinsed it off, I had immediate hydrophobics, it was really cool, easy to apply, it worked very well. So that's another one that I would recommend trying, especially if you're interested in like a wet coat product, spray on, rinse off, it does a great job. If you don't like wet coat products and instead you like something that is more of a drying aid, I would recommend Black Diamond. I use Glossy and Black Diamond both on the Subaru, and I liked Black Diamond a lot more. It has more hydrophobics, it has more slickness, it has around the same amount of gloss. They're both the same amount of ease to apply, same amount of streakiness or lack thereof. So it's like, why bother with Glossy when Black Diamond exists, right? Their glass cleaner actually works really well, Shine. I like that quite a bit. It's another one that I would recommend testing out. It's really close. I like Labo Cosmetica Nutito. That's one of my favorites. And I find it similar to Nutito. I think I like Nutito a little bit better. The scent on this is a little strong, but it works well. I don't know. I could easily use it and be happy with it the same way that I could use like Kosh Chemi's Blue Line glass cleaner or Kosh Chemi GC or you know, a variety of other glass cleaners that I've tested over the years. You know, it's probably like in that top 5 realm. I don't know if I would call it, you know, 5th or 4th. It's probably tied for 5th or 4th with like a couple others that are kind of similar to it. I think I personally like Nutito a little bit better. There are things that I also like about Bilt Hambler Traceless, but that is a very strong product. And there are things that I like about Invisible Glass. This is more in the middle between those two, right? Traceless is super strong, Invisible Glass isn't very strong. Shine is a middle of the road. I don't think it's quite as aggressive as Traceless is. Works very well, so it is another one in the line that I did really like. Onyx and Black Pearl. This is a water-based coating. This is an oil-based coating. I would say if you're going to do it, do this one because they both had the same appearance. This was maybe very slightly glossier, and I don't like glossy wheel dressings or tire dressings. So in my opinion, I like Black Pearl a little bit better than Onyx. I think that you're going to get a better durability out of it because it's oil-based. They're both relatively easy to apply, but you know, this is like a clearish gray color and more, I think it's easier to level and not end up with like those little white spots here and there in between the letters and stuff. So again, like there's two different products. You've got some choices here. I would say Black Pearl over Onyx, my personal opinion. I like that one a little bit better. Blanc I didn't like. I mean, it did a good job at cleaning. It's got a very high level of cleaning power. But it smells like ivory soap, which is not very offensive. That's kind of nice. But it feels like, I don't know how to say it. It feels like there's like a sticky film that's left behind kind of. And what we found was if you spray it on and you leave it sit there for a little while, if you come back with a wet rag and wipe it, you can kind of like reactivate it and you get a little bit of foam. So it's like leaving a little bit of residue behind. So I personally don't love it. The fact that it can foam and spray is kind of trick. It did have a high level of cleaning power. I didn't find that it like dried anything out or anything like that. I didn't find that it left the car overly glossy. There are just other interior cleaners that I like better. If I'm using something that I want to be really strong, I'd probably use Clean Tool Interior Plus. If I was going to use something that is more of a general cleaner that is an occasional use in a car that's relatively clean to begin with, I would use Mild Deep Refresh. So, you know, all that being said, I didn't love Blanc. I would probably do something else instead of that. Prep worked well, but I didn't find it, again, it didn't really blow me away. So this is a residue oil remover. It's a panel prep product. It reminded me of a lot of old school panel preps, like DIY's panel prep or like CarPro Eraser or, you know, Geon Prep, those types of things where like there isn't a really, they're very effective, but there isn't like an excellent user experience. And there are some panel preps out there now that have an excellent user experience. Clean Tool comes to mind, Armor Detail Supply comes to mind, Detail Co comes to mind, a couple other brands where they have like a nice scent and a little bit better overall user experience. I think for me, my favorite panel prep right now is actually Clean Tool. Clean Tool and Armor, I kind of go back and forth between those two, but I think Clean Tool moving forward will be the one that I end up buying. I just don't go through a lot of panel prep, so I don't have either one of those here right now. I guess I have a little bit of Armor left. The bottle's almost empty though. So, let's talk about some of these. Their bug remover worked very well. It is a bug remover. I found most bug removers have a very similar amount of effectiveness. You spray it on, you rinse it off, it does a good job. I found that it worked well. If you were going to use N Prewash as your pre-wash of choice, if you weren't going to do like L or S or Aurora, I would say buy this. Spray bug on, pre-spray your bugs, and then foam over it with your N Prewash, and it'll likely handle all of your bug situations for you so that you won't have to worry about the bugs being left behind by the N Prewash because that doesn't seem to break them down. This worked well. Sprayed it on the front of the Subaru, rinsed it off, did a great job. Overall, I think that it's good. Well, I think it's average in terms of bug removers, honestly. But if you're trying out the full line, that's a product that worked well, and I had no problems with it. The waterless shampoo I didn't love. I used it in the door jams. I liked it in the door jams. That was pretty easy use of product. It worked well for that. On the Mercedes here, I didn't really like it at all. I ended up finishing the car using DIY Details, waterless wash. I would prefer Hero rinse. I would prefer Hero mixed 64:1 as a waterless wash. I'd prefer DIY. I'd prefer Maniac, a couple others over it. So this is one that I didn't really love. I don't know, it just didn't do it for me. Even though I don't love waterless wash, there are others that I've had a better experience with, so that's one that I didn't really like. The last two here, we've got Vampire Direct, which is an iron fallout remover. Worked very well, most iron removers do. It turned purple almost immediately, rinsed off cleanly, it did a good job. Again, it's one of those things where like, it's kind of got an old school scent. It smells like iron remover, if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. There are some iron removers now that don't have that aren't abusive to your nose. I think that it's a great product. I don't think that it's a great product in 2025, just honestly. I think that it does its thing, it does it well. But, you know, Armor's iron remover, Detail Co's iron remover, Clean Tool's iron remover, I don't know, half a dozen other brands now have iron removers that are not like abusive to your nose. So it's like, why do something that's a little bit older technology, or it feels older technology? It feels like I went back in time a little bit, versus using something that is a little bit more current and up to date. So again, didn't love that, worked well, but it just wasn't really blown away by it. Blaze Direct, that is their wheel and tire cleaner. I found that this did an excellent job on the tires on that Subaru. The amount of browning and the amount of dirt that was lifted off effortlessly was really, really nice. So I think this is an excellent tire and wheel cleaner if you're looking for a combination. Reminded me a lot of Maniac. Maniac tire and wheel cleaner is another one that I really, really like. Works very well. So I think that this is one to definitely try out in the line. I was really happy with the amount of browning that I had, really happy with the lack of effort that it took to use it. And I just think it's a really good tire and wheel cleaner. So buy it direct or buy the, you know, the undiluted version, and you can dilute it yourself, of course. But they give you this foaming tip, which I like foaming wheel cleaners, as you know. And I found that it did a great job. That's the line for me. If you want me to distill it down to like my top products, these are them. These ones that are kind of in the front row here. I would say if you're only going to buy 4 or 5 things, Mint is a definite, Black Diamond is a definite, L is a definite, and I would say Blaze Direct is probably also a definite. The rest of them are all like, these are really good products. I think they work really well. They're top tier, but there might be some things that you like a little bit better from another line, and there are some things that I like a little bit better from other lines. The only one that I'm really strongly on the fence about keeping is Mint. I might keep Mint, or I might rebuy Mint. Adamo's going to buy the whole line. Like, he already told me that he wanted it before I even purchased it. Sorry, I know that other people commented down below interested in trying the products out, but he's already spoken for them. But I think Mint is really, really excellent. I think that it's got a great economy of using it and a great scent. It does remind me a lot of like Incredible Suds or Apex Auto Wash in terms of the economics of it, right? Those are both highly dilutable. They still foam like crazy. You can wash a whole car with 20 milliliters of soap kind of thing, right? Rogue is another one that's that way. That's what's up in this pink can in here. You know, I think that Mint is really good. I like the scent of it a lot. I don't know that I like it as much as GSF, to be honest with you, but GSF, you need to use double the soap, honestly. I would need to fill that foam cannon, or that little test tube looking foam cannon, completely fill. So, you know, this is gonna last twice as long. I don't know what the cost per ounce is, I'd have to look, but you know, I'm guessing that this is a little bit more economical than that is. That's all that I'm gonna have for today. That's the whole line wrapped up. I'm gonna box all of this up. It's gonna go over to Adamo, like I said. One thing to note about these is these are not really removable. So they do come with sprayers on them, and like I mentioned in my first video, they're kind of like those, when you own a restaurant and you buy the red ketchup bottles, the bottle is actually red. You can't refill those. There's like notches in it that it like screws on, and then you can't really like take it off without busting the little tabs off. So that's not to say that you can't do it, but like Becca tried to take one of her sprayers off and actually broke the sprayer in half. Now, these sprayers are, they have 2 different style sprayers. I talked about this a little bit. This is their standard sprayer, so this is on all non-foaming products. This is their foaming sprayer. It's on all foaming products. It's got this little door that kind of flips open, so it can spray or it can foam, depending on if the door is open or closed. You can get these sprayers on US Plastics. So, you know, if you did need a replacement sprayer, I know they're a little unique. You can get them from US Plastics. The other sprayers they have here, I like them. They're not adjustable, but they do have, you know, a fan setting, on off. They're very similar to like the Kosh Chemi sprayers that they come with out of the box. I know those work well. I've used them for a long time. I really haven't had any issues with them. You know, while I like the Spray Plast sprayers as my favorite of this style, the non-foaming, you know, those are my favorite. I would say these are honestly very good. I've used them on a lot of products and they work very, very well. That is all for today. Thank you for watching and have a great day.